Happy Wednesday. I don't know about all of you, but I literally cannot believe it is the middle of November. It's like mind-blowing how fast each day, each week, the months are passing. But it's great to see you all today. Thank you for being here. And we're excited to dive in and get started and provide some updates. As you know, these meetings are recorded. So if you ever are not able to join or you want to hear something back later, the recording's there for you. And all of the materials for this meeting, including the slides, are housed at risa.net/curriculum leaders. And Michelle has shared the link to that in the chat. All right, with that, I'm going to get out of the way and hand it over to the team who will get us started in our presentation today. But good to see all of you. Hope you're having a good week and excited to dig in with you.
Thanks, Beth. Hi, everybody. I'd like to also welcome you. I'm Mary Treece, Executive Director of Educational Services. My contact information is there in case there are any need for follow-up. Next, please. We're going to kick off with, we have a robust agenda. Once again, we have Mike. Well, we're going to share the November update from Wayne Risa, and we always encourage you to share that broadly with your teams. And it will always be linked into this slide deck each month, so you can go back and refer to it as needed. Mike Lapis is here, our lobbyist, around, and he will give us some legislative updates. Cindy T is here. She has state assessment accountability updates. Of course, we know that literacy and science and special ed and safe and healthy schools are all also important to you as you support positive outcomes for students. So we have updates in all of those areas as well. Here's the update report. Somebody can put it in the chat so you have it. I'll also send it out through an email. Again, please share widely. There are multiple categories in here. We know not all of it will be relevant to you directly, perhaps, but you can also share it with your teams. And we're going to toss it right to Mike Lapis.
Thanks, Mary. Good morning or afternoon, everyone. 1 o'clock now. I have what I hope will be a brief update. I think a lot of this I actually touched on with you guys last month. Obviously, there's been a number of updates, certainly in the 31AA area, as well as the 27L, 21F, and 164K. There's also updates, just general updates about the state and federal that I will jump into. But real quick, I'll get to the point of probably what you all are most interested in. And you guys might know more than I do in some of these aspects, given some of your contacts at the department. But I will run through where I know that things stand on these few areas. 31AA, obviously, you guys know that Wayne Risa and a number of districts in Wayne County and Macomb ISD and a number of other districts throughout the state have entered into a lawsuit pertaining to 31AA in both federal and state court. The Miller Canfield, our attorneys, had a status conference with the state courts yesterday and are currently in, I think, right now with having the same sort of status conference with in federal court as we speak. The state court lawsuit really gets to it's what they call what they call title and object, where they're essentially making it a misdemeanor. They're essentially putting a misdemeanor into the School Aid Act without defining it elsewhere in statute. So it's a very technical legal aspect, but that's kind of just the basis of what the state complaint is. The federal complaint focuses on violations of both the Fifth and 14th Amendments. Both lawsuits, both arguments are very well laid out. They are seeking, obviously, injunctive relief and to have the privilege waiver struck and move on with this funding. The state court has set a date, I think, for December 1st or December 3rd. I can't remember off the top of my head. And has now asked, as of yesterday, and the department agreed to delay the November 30th um, uh, the November 30th deadline to December 4th so that the court can hear the arguments and make a decision. So that's kind of the bigger of the updates that I have surrounding 31AA as of now. I haven't seen an update yet from the federal status conference, but my guess is it'll probably closely follow that. So we will know more. Obviously, when courts make their decisions, it's a little bit different than hearing things behind the scenes, in the legislature. So you tend to not hear too much until things actually happen. I know everyone is kind of craving updates on this issue specifically, and that's about all I have. I will share that we shared in consultation with our attorneys and our communications firm and others, we shared a talking points document with basically the entire state, as well as shared some talking points and some other communications materials with those districts, at least in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties that signed on to the lawsuit to help them speak to why they joined the lawsuit and share, and have different communication tools for staff and families. So we'll have to see where that all lands in the courts. We're hopeful that we will see some sort of injunctive relief there. 31A is the at-risk parental reporting is more just in there just to kind of, I've been talking about it, so I'll just continue to say there has been no movement on when the department decides that needs to be done. They, at least as of a week and a half ago, they were still under the timeline of that's not on our plate right now, or on our radar right now, and it's still looking like probably sometime in the spring of when that would have to happen. 27L teacher compensation fund that has $203 million in it. That fund is being paid out to LEAs and PSAs. The department said that districts will likely see those funds in the January state aid payments. They're currently waiting for the final December pupil counts in order to calculate the actual amount that everyone will receive. The department really isn't sending out much in terms of guidance on this or really any other stuff all of the budget boilerplate stuff that I'm talking about today, which is super helpful. But I know there's been some discussions amongst the superintendents that we've had about who this money has to go to, with some of the unions indicating that this money can only go to union members essentially, or those covered by CBA. And the fact that PSAs are receiving this money actually refutes that as well. So I know there were a number of districts that wanted to actually essentially send this to all of their employees, outside of third parties. So just a quick update on that. 21F, I'm sure you guys saw last week, 2 weeks ago. I can't remember my timelines at this point. As Beth said, this month is going by fast. The department set out a memo saying that given the language in the budget, there isn't much that the department can do. And moving forward, the districts will not be able to implement virtual days for testing or PD, or for emergency use. The department has indicated that they are willing, if there is a supplemental or in next year's budget, to set a number of virtual days allowable to 7. It was 15 prior to that, but they aren't doing anything now. I have been pushing, and others have been pushing them to have the state superintendent actually create a waiver in this section, obviously centered around the fact that these days have already been set in the schedule. The budget wasn't passed until 3 months into our year. The current interim state superintendent has pushed back on that. We hope to continue to push that with the new full-time superintendent coming in December. I will obviously continue, dependent on where that goes, we will continue to push for, even if it's just a boilerplate supplemental in the late winter, kind of February, March area, to change that. I know I did a survey amongst our superintendents asking how many virtual days they had last year, what they were for, and how many they believe would be helpful moving forward. And the general sense I got was that about 5 having the ability to have 5 days would be helpful. So I shared that information with the department, and obviously with them being okay with 7, that fits our needs here in Wayne County. Um, the Section 164K, the nutrition forms. I think I shared this with you guys last month. My frustration with this legislature continues in in the way this budget process happened, and just in the sense of it would have taken them literally. I've been saying 30 seconds, but it probably doesn't take 30 seconds to actually type whether or not the federal government allows districts to require families to fill out the nutrition forms or not, into Google and hit enter. But I think as I've shared previously, and as I'm sure you guys know now, the federal government, USDA, does not allow districts to require families to fill out that information. So I know that the department sent that information on to district nutrition folks, but isn't going to be sending it out in a broader memo, they said. The surveys piece of this is continues to be frustrating and annoying, and I wouldn't say confusing, but the department has indicated they are not putting out any guidance on this piece either. I asked the question, so help me out here. Department is, if we have, I have a son in third grade right now. If the teacher takes a survey of the class to see who's having hot lunch today, do we need to post that online? Do we need to let parents know? Because that's technically a survey. The department kind of shrugged their shoulders, said, "Well, we don't know if that's a survey or not." And I said, "Exactly my point." And they're essentially telling us to use our best judgment. They did tell me for all of this stuff and the literacy curriculum piece included, that the department is not going to be policing 164K. They don't have the ability to police 164K, and will only, I guess, investigate, if that's the right word, to maybe review is the better word, if something comes to their attention. For example, if a parent or someone reports a district to the department, and what the department indicated what they will do would be to, yes, they would withhold 5% of the state aid payment, but that would not go away. It would just be withheld. They would work with the district to get back into compliance and then release those funds. So this isn't going to be one of those where, if you screw up and don't post a survey, you lose 5% of your state aid payment. So that part is good to know. It'd be great to have a little bit more information from the department, just in terms of guidance on that, but we are not going to get it, despite my continued attempts at pushing for it. That's pretty much all in the way of the budget boilerplate stuff. At the state legislative area, there's not much going on. We have, I think, 6 or 7 scheduled session days remaining in the calendar year. We're currently in our hunting break, and then next week is our Thanksgiving break, and then we come back the first week of December. The only main thing on their agenda right now is an economic development. Uh, Changing the way the state does its economic development. They don't really have, I think there's a couple different packages that are essentially ideas. The Senate does have a package that's been introduced, but they really don't know. They don't have a handle on what they actually want to do. So while I thought many of them believed after the budget that was going to get done before the end of the year, that's not going to happen. A supplemental is not going to happen before the end of the year either. They've been kicking bills back and forth. I think the one major thing that they actually did since the budget was agreed to, a new policy on earmarks, which will now require earmarks, which did happen in this budget, where they had to be sponsored by a state legislator and posted online. Earmarks moving forward will need to be sponsored and be posted online 45 days in advance of them actually being voted on to receive funding. So not a major thing, but I guess it's just something they now agree on. They're education-wise in in policy committee. There's some epinephrine bill. Basically, it's allowing for the administration of nasal epinephrine. There's a package of bills that are on that I don't believe I can't remember if they were voted out of the committee or not, and if they've gone to the House floor. I think those will eventually move and be passed by both the House and Senate. There's an ABA bill which we are concerned about. It's 5044. I think it's 5044 off the top of my head. Yes, 5044. That we have some major concerns about, and the Autism Alliance has been kind of going hard at legislators and trying to get them to pass this bill, which we believe has a number of different concerns laid within it. I think to our benefit, the Autism Alliance is being told by legislators on both sides of the aisle to come to an agreement on some sort of compromise with school management, but they are refusing to. Which is basically having both Republicans and Democrats kind of back away from their desire to move this bill forward. So I've been told by the education chair's chief of staff that they're going to be slow walking this, and we will see where that goes. So that's pretty much what's going on in the state level. Federal updates. Obviously, we are no longer in a shutdown. Had the longest ever shutdown for I think it was 45. Ended up being 45 days. Um, Obviously, the new continuing resolution will last through January 31st. My understanding from the conversations that I've had is that nothing has changed in terms of their next step, which has always been to pass a year-long continuing resolution after this continuing resolution they just did. As I think I've stated to you guys previously, it is in our best interest that they do not do a budget at this time. If they did do a budget, that we would be up against probably some of those cuts that we started to hear about in the beginning of this year, where they're looking at cuts to title funding, specifically Title One funding as well. So we'll have to see if we could end up with a government shutdown again. My guess is that we won't, but you never know. So that's what's going on at both the state and federal levels. I'm happy to answer any questions. All right. Quiet bunch today. I'm always available if anybody has any questions.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Moving into state assessment and accountability updates. Um, the school accountability release that came out 2 weeks ago. It is released on the My School data portal, which is linked there. The preview window ended on Friday, November 14th. However, the public release is still anticipated for this week. So we're still waiting for some of that state information, the state numbers. So until that is released by MDE, the information is still embargoed. Speaking to MDE on Monday, they anticipate later this week. So any day now. The thresholds are posted here though, so you can see the bottom 5% came in at 35.33, and then the bottom 25% components for that TSI identification, and then among your different components are listed there. So that is there. There are some resources that have been updated for 24-25 that is linked there. And then I will have office hours on Monday from 10:30 to 11:30, just question and answers if anyone needs help going through some of their information or has questions. It's just a Zoom link so you can jump on and join. Very informal. Next slide. Some state testing updates. WIDA pre-ID opens up in OEAA on December 10th. And then your general assessment pre-IDs, that will open up in OEAA on January 5th. Remember, this information comes from first your student information system, which feeds into MSDS, which then goes into OEAA. So it's really important that your information is clean, your data is clean. They're taking this information from pre-ID into accountability for your participation, your proficiency, your growth. Proficiency and growth are adjusted down if your participation is under 95%. So you want to make sure that information is clean. They have updated your guide to state assessments for 25-26, so it's linked there. The important dates have all been updated for all of the assessments, so that is also linked there. They have a webinar for your DRC, the technology training coordinators webinar on December 3rd. The registration link is there. That is for your My Access and your MSTEP. And then there are some changes to My Access for the functional independence level. The answer documents have changed or they are being discontinued. So typically students would do in the answer booklets and then they are transcribed onto the answer documents, which are then mailed back for the material return.
Test administrators will now input those responses into the online DRC Insight portal instead of sending those answer booklets back. The expressing ideas will continue to use the paper pencil answer documents for grade levels now. They will not have a multi-grade format. So that's some changes there. There will be more information with an accommodations webinar that will be coming out soon. Next slide. Some PSAT and SAT updates. There are some important dates listed here that will be coming up. The main one coming up is that your November 3rd, that just opened up this month for any off-site test requests. So if you're testing outside of the district building or building code, you have to do an off-site test request. And then December 1st, that interactive checklist will be released to all test coordinators that are listed in the EEM. You can start checking your test participation for PSAT and SAT and OEAA. So if you log into OEAA and go to the assessment registration tab and then go down to test center participation and filter for your district and school, it will show you yes and no if you are set for PSAT and SAT. Last year, it would show you work keys, but there is no establishment process for WIN this year, since WIN will be taking the place of work keys. There is no establishment process for that this year, so it will not be shown on the test center participation this year. So they are still uploading that information, so if it's not there, give it a week. But you have until December 15th to make sure that it does show yes, you are testing, and your AI codes will be listed there. I have some webinars listed that are coming up, the visually impaired webinar, the test coordinator training, the text-to-speech screen reader comparison, and the registration links. And if you want a full list of all of the trainings that are available, it is also linked. Next slide, please. A lot of information here, but since it's a new assessment coming up, there have been a lot of questions. So a lot of resources to go through, but they have the technology coordinator checklist, the technology requirements for the new system. There's a admin quick reference sheet. There's the whole webinar training schedule for WIN. And then I highlighted the WIN MDE Resource Center page. That kind of houses all of the information. So if you're looking for one spot to go to, I would definitely just bookmark that page. It has little tutorials. It has a preview of what the system's going to look like and how the tools are going to work. So it has sample questions. It shows you the math formula sheet. So that little resource, that WIN MDE Resource Center, the one I highlighted, is the key place to go to get a lot of the resources. I have a link for the math formula sheet. Students will have a math formula sheet that's available. There's sample assessment questions. They did have a quick review webinar, so I have it linked there. All of the allowable accommodations have been released, so that is linked there. And there was an accommodations webinar today, so that is also linked there. There is no review or approval process for accommodations for the WIN work readiness assessments like there is for College Board. It's going to be similar to MSTEP. Accommodations can be signed in the career readiness system. It's going to be assigned by the student level, just like you do for MSTEP and DRC. You're going to have to turn it on for the student. And it's based on students' IEP and 504 plan. The IEP does not need to specifically say when. It does not, so you don't have to go and change that in all of the IEPs, but it does have to say that general accommodation. Directions on how to gain access to the WIN readiness system in OEA through OEAA will be coming out soon in the spotlight. So right now there's no way to get access. They're anticipating you will start getting access in February. And there will be a required training for proctors, just like there is for SAT and PSAT. And I think that date is January 13th, but don't quote me. I will get a date confirmed, but that's the date I have at this point. Next slide. The benchmark assessment reimbursement. Due to delays in the budget process, the Nexus application will not open this by the end of the year. It will be pushed into early 2026 in January, so look for that to open then. In the meantime, MDE is they sent out a short survey. It's a 4-question survey just to collect some information, trying to see how many schools and districts will be applying for the reimbursement. So I have the survey linked there. It's 1 submission per district. It only allows for that. There is key dates and reminders, the fall mode of instruction, and the data submission that has to be turned into the data hub in order to get the reimbursement. The deadline for that is December 19th. So the action steps you need to take, log in and run the features, the benchmark assessment legislation report. Make sure that you see at least 1 approved assessment, the vendor that you are running. Confirm that mode of instruction field has student count listed there, and verify that there are no red X's in that report. If you see red X's, then you need to put a ticket into the My Service Desk, which is listed below. They can also help you run the mode of instruction script so that all of your students are marked as fully in person, so you don't have to do that. And then there are some resources listed there. Next slide, please. Wayne Risa will be joining College Board. We're going to be doing an AP webinar. We're expanding access, expanding impact. There are new AP courses that they have available, so they would like to share those with Wayne County. They have AP Business with Personal Finance and AP Cyber Security. Those are 2 new courses that are offered. They're going to highlight those courses along with some other professional skills. So this date is Tuesday, December 9th. It's an hour, 9:30 to 10:30. The registration link is there. Remember that AP courses is tied to the index in your advanced coursework under School Quality Student Success. Next slide, please. And then Wayne Risa did host benchmark assessments with iReady and NWEA, so those are recorded and those are linked there if you were not able to join us. Next slide. And if you are part of the Atlas Consortium, they are hosting an Atlas Consortium Curriculum Collaboration Day at Ted Scott on March 25th from 8 to 4. There is no cost for this session. The registration link is there. And that's all I have. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay. I am Jennifer Bennett, literacy consultant here at Wayne Risa, and I'd like to share with you some updates from the elementary literacy team. We want to make sure you're aware of PA 146 or the dyslexia law timeline. Although there are a lot of responsibilities for our districts in the 27-28 school year, you'll see that there are some things that can be done up to that point. And so this is just a really quick synopsis of kind of what's coming your way. But I guess what's most important to see there is that so far this year, there are some opportunities for some resources or some professional learning on dyslexia and structured literacy, and it's through the MIMTSS website, and we'll have to add that to our site as well. And then we're also, as literacy consultants, providing that some of those trainings and can do that for you. So please reach out to us and we can support your school with that as well. And then as you can see in January, there will be a approved list of Tier 1 curriculum materials and assessments. And it's important to note that those assessments will be need to be put into place by the 27-28 school year. So just kind of looking down the road, we wanted to share, go ahead if you want to go to the next slide. A good way to prepare for all of these things that need to be in place for the 27-28 school year is to take a look at this handbook, the Michigan Dyslexia Handbook. And it's a really user-friendly. The chapters give you some background on the science of reading, structured literacy, MTSS, And each chapter is kind of like a study guide where it gives you some focus, some action items and some focus for your school, for your district. And so this might need to get in the hands of some of you and some of our principals and their leadership teams. Go ahead, you can click to the next slide. And so if you're not already a part of these literacy updates, you can go to sign up for the K-12 Literacy and Dyslexia Law Communications, and it's a great resource to keep you updated. And so to support you with this, we have some professional learning available. We've had 2 so far on the dyslexia awareness, and they have been full houses. So hopefully some of you can send some teams to come and see us in March and learn some more about this. And I know Michelle Wagner and Sarah Jones will be leading that. And so if you keep going, also supporting all of this work, if we think about dyslexia law and structured literacy, UFly is one great resource that aligns. It's on the approved list of curriculum. And so those training days that are available, there's 2 days of training. And I just want to give a quick plug to say that although it's 2 full days, it really lays a foundation and so much understanding about what they are teaching. So it is a really great professional learning opportunity for your teachers. There's also virtual trainings as well. And then and those virtual trainings are kind of those kind of just for those folks that have been to the 2 day, it kind of gives them a nice refresh. And then we also have Julia Lindsay joining us. And we've been studying reading about the fray, and she's going to kind of pull some of those ideas together. And I know this is a great opportunity for your teachers or literacy coaches to come in and learn firsthand from her about the topics we've been studying together. And then a part of our series as we're continuing is about writing. So if you want to flip to the next slide, we also have, we're trying to provide, as you can see, we're trying to provide professional learning in different ways. And so one of the ways is to do a virtual book study. And so we've started that work and we've had some great feedback. And so hopefully you can get the word out about this one as well. And it's how to become a better writing teacher. And so there'll be 2 sessions of that, 1 hour virtual after school sessions. And then we'll kind of pull that all together with Carl Anderson coming. So if you flip to the next slide, you'll see that he's joining us on April 8th and for a full day of learning. So he's a very magnetic speaker. So if anybody can send your folks here, they definitely will feel inspired and walk away with tools to use in the classroom. And so, of course, we're always looking to make sure all of these professional learnings align with the dyslexia law, PA 146, as well as our literacy essentials. And so they all do. And so that's what we have available coming up for our elementary teachers. If you want to flip to the next slide, I'm going to share a couple more opportunities for our secondary teachers. And so, of course, we have the literacy newsletter that'll give you lots of information as well. And then we have our secondary literacy updates where we have nurturing readers, writers, and leaders. If you want to flip to the next slide. We have this series is actually online and so accessible to teachers, even if you can get a part half-day subs are available, or if your literacy leaders are available, this will be a great opportunity for them to learn about the disciplinary practices, disciplinary literacy practices. So it's a great opportunity coming up in January. And then if you want to flip to the next slide, we want you to save the date for May 28th. And we'll be digging into our disciplinary literacies in action. We'll be coming together to think about place, problem, and project-based learning. So we hope you can think about how this aligns with your plans for your long-term plans, your strategic plans for your school year. So thank you.
We have Nathan Spencer.
Great, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Nathan Spencer. I'm one of the science ed consultants at RISA, along with my peer, Lisa Ogiamwani. And so I want to spend a couple minutes just talking about science curriculum resources. And as education leaders, we all know the importance of not only high quality teacher practice, but also resources that support those high quality teacher practices in the classroom. And I also know that in Wayne County and throughout the state, our leadership and our teachers are using different resources to find out what are those high quality materials. And so at Wayne RISA, for the past, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, we have been supporting teachers implementing different curricula. And last year, we spent a year supporting teachers implementing or piloting Open SciEd High School. And this year, we're going to have a different series, but around middle school. So Open SciEd, I'm not going to read through all these bullet points, but Open SciEd is considered a high quality resource. Ed Reports went through and evaluated it. It all green through this, and there are other resources for middle school science that have it all green as well. Not only does it receive all green in Ed Reports, but it also has received the NGSS design badge for every single one of its middle school and high school and elementary units. So it's something that has been field tested with kids, revised and reviewed by these external teams, and it's high quality. And I do want to point out one thing is there's a difference between curriculum that are aligned to the NGSS or the Michigan Science Standards and those that are designed for the NGSS or Michigan Science Standards. So Open SciEd and a few others are curricula that were designed for it specifically. And so, this resource is powerful, and the training for it, we're going to offer some work for your teachers and coaches and hopefully some administrators. Could you go to the next slide, please? So what is the support we're offering? We're going to offer a 4-day launch professional learning coming up in May, the 19th through the 27th. And these 4 days, teachers will be immersed in the practices for this curriculum. They'll engage in some lessons as students, then they'll put on their teacher hat and reflect on what it might look like to implement, whether you're piloting or implementing as your resource in your own context. They'll learn how to navigate the resources themselves. So we will be providing, Lisa and I, this high quality professional learning to support your teachers in this. Now, if you already have, or if you're already using Open SciEd Middle School as your resource, and your teachers did not receive training, then this is for you as well, right? So your teachers can come to this. And if you'd like to discuss more about Open SciEd, what it is, what does it look like, et cetera, before you decide to invest the $200 per teacher, which includes, time away from school, let me know. You can email me or Lisa, and we will set something up. And there's multiple districts. We'll put together a virtual learning opportunity where we can talk about that. And a special note on this is that this isn't 4 straight days out. So the way it's set up is that there will be really 2 days for teachers. So we have our day 1 is for all 6th grade teachers. So they would attend day 1 to do the things I just talked about. And then they would come to day 4 with all the teachers. So the same thing for 7th and 8th grade teachers. Now, if you have a teacher who teaches 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we would hope they'd show up for all 4 days of that training. We'd also like to mention that Open SciEd is an OER. It's an open educational resource. So all of the curriculum materials are free. You can actually log in right now to the Open SciEd website, create an account, which is free, and then download all those materials. But if you plan on piloting or if you plan on implementing this resource, we highly recommend that you go through a company such as ECA or other companies to make sure you purchase the kits, because this resource includes a lot of materials that you don't generally find in your high school laboratories. And then and the final piece for this is that we also recommend that if you're sending teachers, that you also send other folks, right? So instructional coaches, those who would be supporting teachers implementing this, we recommend that they participate in this series, so they have an understanding of what the resource is, what it looks like to implement, and how to engage students in the routines and practices that are throughout this resource. Okay, so if there are any questions, you can email Lisa or I directly. I have one more slide. I've been receiving a lot of questions via email and through personal conversations and a couple phone calls. What are the resources that RISA has to support teachers getting kids ready for MSTEP? Well, you can link to the MDE site, and there are some practice assessments that have been there since for years now. But there aren't any other practice resources. But what we will say, and this is, we will say that the best way to prepare your students for MSTEP and other types of resources, or excuse me, other types of assessments in science is that you should engage them in high quality phenomenon or problem-based instruction that is three-dimensional to our NGSS standards. And bar none, that's it. I've been around many, many classrooms throughout Wayne County, and it's something that we as a county need to work on, which is why we're here to support you in that. Dr. TJ Heck, who is the former MDE science assessment consultant, she went to Oakland schools and created a video to support us in understanding what that might look like. And so there is a link to that video in this slideshow. So again, if there's any questions, go ahead and contact me. Thank you. This is Lisa.
Yeah, so I'm Lisa Ogimwani, the friend that Nathan was talking about there. So I am just letting you know about this opportunity to be a part of a 5-day learning series. It's essentially 1 day per month to focus on data literacy and data science for students. It is not specific to science, it's really for all subjects. But one of the exciting things that's just happened recently is that there is a new nationwide K-12 progression for data literacy and data science. So essentially what it is helping students get used to and be able to make sense of graphs, charts, tables, data, anything you can think of, both actively collecting it, putting it together, finding it in resources, and really understanding it. And that's something that if we can put that into all of our subject areas, can really help with not only what they're learning in that space, but does also tend to show up on standardized tests in certain places. So we have 2 more days that the registration is open for that. It's open until Friday this week. And if you would like to join us or have someone in your district that you think should join us, then have them come along. If it turns out that maybe a person can't come for all 5 sessions, but they know they can come to 3 or 4 and that it would still be valuable to them, they can definitely register. So hope to see some of you there. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I can speak to this. Melissa Wilson is our My Family coordinator, and she's not able to attend this afternoon. She just really wanted to share this information with you, though, regarding the network that's coming up. So there's a QR code there, and there's a My Family network where anybody who wants to engage in connecting with family and communities around learning for your school or district, you're welcome to attend. This is funded through MyLeap, and people who we really would like for you to engage in the network, and we'll be launching real soon school-based grants up to $5,000 each for family and community engagement activities. If you're interested, please join us. I think 1 day has already taken place, but you can join the network at any time.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Pearson. I'm Essential Elements Consultant with the CS department at Wayne RISA. Thanks for having me today. I just wanted to announce that the Wayne Risa CS team, we are under a new dig. So our department, which is called the Special Education and Early Intervention Services team, we're finally together under one new roof at the Wayne Risa Annex building. So we're really excited to have all of our team members together finally after years of kind of being split up amongst buildings and in different areas. So we're all going to be housed at the Annex building. Our general supervision and accountability team, our Act 18 team, our assistive technology team, where they also have the make and take space, which a lot of districts have been utilizing. We have our curriculum supports, our behavior supports. So we're all going to be at the Annex. So I just wanted to shed light on that. We're really excited and appreciate Wayne Risa's opportunity to provide us with that space so that we can collaborate and work together. So we're actively in the trenches with Teach Town. This is month 3, and we thought it'd be a great idea to have kind of a Teach Town community of practice. We've gotten some feedback, and educators from across our 18, 19 different Act 18 districts want an opportunity to kind of connect together with educators from other programs and from other schools. So we're going to hold in December 3 different community of practice sessions. They're going to be broken up by program and or grade level. So our first one is going to be on Monday, December 8th, which will be our transition to adulthood for teams that serve as students 18 to 26 years old. On Wednesday, December 10th, we'll have our Encore K-12 group, which will be our educators servicing K through 12. And then on Friday, December 12th, we'll have our launch for pre-K, which is for our preschool programs. So these will all be virtual 1-hour sessions. And this was sent out to the special education directors and supervisors this week, but I also wanted to highlight this opportunity here with you all, just in case you know of anyone or can share this great opportunity with your educators, specifically your non-diploma Act 18 programs that are using TeachTown.
Hey, we do have a question in the chat. Is it okay for districts who just signed on, who are not funding with Act 18 to join these as well?
No, not at this time. So this is specifically for Act 18 non-diploma classrooms only that was funded through Act 18 funds through Wayne Risa. But if you have purchased TeachTown outside of our Act 18 and our Wayne Risa agreement, I can help get you connected with the TeachTown team, with Scott and Allison and all their great people there, so that we can kind of connect and kind of form this, to have the ability to create. I can definitely ask. I just want to make sure it's not a funding issue of what, the PD and the trainings and the additional supports that we purchased for Act 18 only. So let me double check on that. So if you want to chat with me privately via Zoom and just give me your contact info, I can definitely reach out and see if that would be allowed. But for right now, we created this for that non-diploma Act 18 group. Thanks. I just did a couple of PD presentations, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to highlight this information, as well as I've been out in districts kind of talking about essential elements resources, educator resources related to essential elements. So we have a great teacher tools page on our Wayne Risa website. So if you go to waynerisa.net, click on the special education tab, click on teacher tools. It is username and password protected. So the username and password is just password, all one word, all lowercase. But I just wanted to highlight here, this would be great information to kind of remind your educators about, especially those special educators that are working with students with moderate to severe special needs and are on the essential elements track. So there's a lot of great systems, pacing guides, vocabulary, I can statements, core vocabulary, AAC, resources and tools. Wayne Risa had a committee about 10 to 15 years ago that really worked on a lot of these resources that are currently on our website. Now that I've been hired and am new to my role, my goal is to continue to have committees and update these tools and resources, add additional videos, visuals, any type of PDF documents that are needed to kind of, because it could use some of the tools and resources could use a little refresh, a little update. So our team is actively working on that right now, but I just wanted to highlight that this does exist. It is password protected, but you should be sharing this information with your special ed teams. Perfect. And then for my last slide, I just wanted to give a shout out to that Section 504 forms section on our Wayne Riso website. We're happy to announce that we've updated. We make sure that we have kind of blank 504 downloads and copies. And then what's new is that we're providing these in Spanish and Arabic. So those are also on our website as well. So I wanted to just bring your attention to any Section 504 forms. They have been updated. We have updated links and we've provided it in multiple languages. So we just wanted to make sure that your teams were aware of that as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate. Terry is not with us, so I'm going to go ahead and share her updates for us. Okay, just a couple that she wanted you to be aware of. The Michigan State Board of Education approved the updated health education standards guidelines on Thursday. This is the first time the standards have been updated since 2007. And just a reminder that laws about HIV and sex education in Michigan public schools have not changed. And then if you would like additional information on that, there are some resources linked right there on the slide, all of which is available at thatrisa.net/curriculum leaders. And if you have additional questions where you'd like a response from Wayne Risa, Jamie Ethorn at Wayne Risa is able to answer those questions. She's one of our school health consultants.
Michelle, can I just briefly add?
Absolutely.
So under the for additional info, there are 3 resources that the Wayne Risa team created specifically to support you. One is some draft slides that you might use in your context, a general overview both of the process that was used to revise the standards, the timeline, the key changes, what you need to know, and also provides information which I think is the most important to relevant to you all about the district processes, parent opt-in, parent opt-out, not in, out, parent opt-out opportunities, and whether or not the committee that's required for the district to choose whether or not the sex ed portion of the standards are taught in the district. So 2 of those documents do have a draft watermark. Because this is just passed by the Michigan Department of Education's board. The Department of Ed, MDE, is also working on guidance. And so we've created this, we've shared it with them. They're creating guidance and we're just making sure that everything is precise and matches. So that's why those draft watermarks are there, but we don't expect any changes and wanted to get you resources right away, knowing that in some of your communities, this is considered a controversial topic. So just wanted to share that additional context on these resources. Thank you, Michelle. Does anyone have any questions on what I just shared about the newly adopted health standards? Great. All right. Thank you all for joining. We hope that this format continues to be helpful to bring you timely and relevant information in a very focused way, trying to limit the amount of time we take and make sure you get the info you need. And of course, we all stand ready to support you. Sometimes for me, I have to fully process the information. Sort of, I know it's there. And then when it becomes relevant in my work, then I'm able to consume it. And then at that time is when I'm like, I wonder about this. So if that happens to you, please just reach out to us. Our whole goal is to be as supportive as possible for whatever you need. All right. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week. And be well.